on to the mayor's report, which I'll give her over to Mayor Berger.
Excellent. Hello, good citizens of Ridley Park. There's a lot of things that are happening and a lot of things that actually took place this past month. I'm going to begin with junior counselor position, something I've been talking about for the last 2 months. Want to continue to promote, recruit for this opportunity to reach out to the youth and find a young person that would like to get involved in their community. So I'm really going to ask all of council to hopefully put out a social media post, whatever it takes. We are going to meet with the local high school to promote this as well through their resources. But truly a great opportunity for somebody to join that table of heavy hitters over there, right? Okay. Also, I've been talking a lot about volunteerism and asking for help on a host of projects in town. Well, the good citizens of Ridley Park have responded. We have a resident that is going for his Eagle Scout badge and is taking on cleaning and upgrading our 9/11 Memorial Park. His name is Zane Handler. So Zane, along with Brian Schultz and his Delco Revolution softball team and a host of other volunteers, hopefully, will be doing the work on Saturday, 5/9. So yet another positive for the borough. I will be working closely with Mike McKinley on details and scope of work for this project, and naturally we'll share it with all of council. Then I have before you here today a few cool items that I'd like to show off, and you can show off your Parker pride. All right, what we have here to my left is a lawn sign for Ridley Park to celebrate the 250 years of America. It also is engraved with little Ridley Park action to keep Ridley Park to the forefront. We also have this banner here in front that can be customized with your family name, a logo, things of that nature. But again, what it screams is Ridley Park, and it screams 250-year celebration. What we're going to do is we're going to sell these 2 items to help basically offset a little bit of our, it's not going to cover too much, but it's going to help, right? It's going to help pay down all the great events that we're doing for July 4th. So hopefully this is something we start seeing around town, and people get involved, and they want a little park of pride, and they want to show off these things in their front yards or their backyards, right? We're going to make it easy. Thanks to Danielle and Trish's help, we're creating a document here at Borough Hall for people to fill out, pay, okay? You would pay in advance. It would be ordered. It would come in just 10 short days. We'd contact you if I need to. I'll drive it right to your house, all right? Then I'm going to follow up on something we've been also talking about for the last couple months. Our UPenn graduating students. Their final assignment, which is the comp plan for the Ridley Park community. I'm excited to say I will be one of their guests and attending this event, this presentation on campus at the Kelman Center for Energy Policy inside the Fisher Fine Arts Library on May 7th. If any other counselors are free or available to attend, that would be outstanding. This will take place at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And basically then these students finish up this whole plan. There is a phone call / Zoom that's scheduled for a little bit more of Ridley Park Borough information. They're going to pepper me with a few other questions. Hopefully I can answer those. If not, I'll reach out to council, Trish, some of our other resources to get them the answers, and they'll finalize everything. Then I have the Ridley Park AC opening day for baseball and softball. Wow. Extremely strong. The kids had a blast. Thank you to the highway team, the police department, the fire company, and for all their support for the parade and games. We took the opportunity to once again celebrate the 4 scholarship winners for graduating seniors for the athletic club, for them to continue their education as long as they play through the club. Thanks to Mike also for his attendance. He helped put up some barricades and things like that. I'll say again, all these events that we do, I'd love to have all of council's support, and hopefully they can start to attend those things. Then I have something extremely special here, all right? We have a proclamation that I'm going to read. There you go. No, no. It's the National Library Week for 2026. Katie brought this to our attention, and we're excited to get involved. So I'm going to read this now. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can find joy through exploration and discovery. Whereas libraries serve a vibrant community hub, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources, while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and cultural enrichment. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovation, programming, ensuring all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learning to provide access to resources, training, opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Bob Berger, proclaim April 19th through the 25th of 2026 a National Library Week. During this week, I encourage all residents to visit the library, explore their resources, and celebrate all the ways that the library helps our community find joy. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Emily, can I just comment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So as, I can't say enough, the job Bob did, the mayor did, at opening day. I really think the added touch there was, the opening pitch, the initial pitch, he had the scholarship winners all throw in a pitch, and I thought that was a nice touch. But most of all, he had them all speak ahead of time to tell the little ones and the younger kids what it takes to get in their shoes and maybe have that opportunity. So, well done there. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's fantastic, and I definitely like to see the kind of passing on from the older generation to the younger generation. I think that's really cool, and definitely glad to hear it was such a success. Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to the committee reports. So how about we start off with planning and zoning with Councilor Taggart?
Thank you. First off, I wanted to let everyone know that we are still moving forward with reviewing the ordinances for zoning and permits. And as of this time, the committee members have the changes or proposed changes that we'd like to bring up to them. The planning commission is going to take a lead on this, and we'll talk to you later about that. But we hope to meet within the next month. We just want to give everybody enough time to at least read it and check it out and come up with some of their questions or responses to it. Once that happens, then we're going to organize a meeting. Another thing I wanted to point out was we have all three committees committee to look into something about, well, in my opinion, too many people are coming in and just giving up and not doing the work they want. And I would rather see, we kind of talk to them, figure out what they want, and come up and see if it's worthwhile. If it'll pass, it won't pass, or give them some suggestions beforehand, rather than just put some money down and give up. So, I'm not really quite sure what to do, but we're gonna talk about it for the next meeting. And I think that brings up the.
Thank you very much, Councilor Taggart. So next we'll go into communications with Councilor Boyce. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, any comments or questions on that?
Yeah, I guess my first comment, the money thing I didn't understand what you meant at the end there. Is that a situation where they're putting money down on the job or on a permit?
Just a whole official startup for it. I'm not sure how much he had put into it yet, but apparently he would have to put in more, so I wanted to dig in a little bit more.
So you're telling me that he would put money down with a contractor ahead of time before getting the proper permit for the work to be
No,
done?
just for our paperwork and our permits. Every time they come in with something, they put some money down.
Okay.
Here's a process.
He was requesting a zoning hearing, and he had to move deposit, for the zoning hearing, and then decided that he no longer wanted to pursue the zoning hearing and actually pursue getting a fence. So he's now owed a refund.
Okay. My other question is, I'm still working on going through everything you sent. There's a lot of changes already in there. What I'm asking is, have you gotten any feedback from contractors and residents, like that was requested? Have you gotten anything?
No.
So I thought the whole idea of making any type of changes was based off of the stuff that came back from the residents and from the contractors. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's crossed out that you sent us. So is that what you want, or is that what the town wants? Like, I thought we were gonna, like, to me, if you're telling me that you haven't gotten any replies from any type of contractor or any resident, it kind of tells me that whatever we have in place is fine. We shouldn't make any changes. And I guess, like I said, I'll give you the floor again, but I just feel like, why, after just doing this a couple years ago, we made this. There is a situation, this is a situation where the borough needs some type of funding as a result of these permits. It's not something we can just push out and make it free. And I think Rich explained it, that a lot of times it's just incorporated in the job itself. So I don't understand why we're making why we gotten anything that shows changes if not one resident and not one contractor has replied to you, which you wanted feedback, and you haven't got it. I'm not gonna give you any feedback because I don't wanna make any changes. So I can't speak for everybody else up here, but as a resident, I would never respond to that because I feel like I don't know much about it, so I feel like whatever the town has in place, and again, I was part of this council, I wasn't part of the committee that re-changed everything, but I know the tedious work that Rich and the team they had back in the day did it, and it was well done, and it's in fine standing as far as I'm concerned. So I guess I'm just asking you, without any feedback from anybody, why is there any changes being brought to us?
We haven't really went after any of the contractors yet. No notices have been sent out to them, so I don't even know if they're aware of it.
Well, you're,
We plan on doing that, reaching out to.
But I think word of mouth, it's out there. I mean, I think they would already respond. There are a lot of contractors live in town. And they would know, I don't see it happening. And even if it does, I feel like a contractor, of course the contractor is gonna want some type
that's a
of
little common
break.
sense too.
So
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about the contractor getting a break on a permit or any type of situation like that. I'm more worried about us not fulfilling the need that the borough needs as a result of this.
No, but they're not really getting a break, they're getting more of an understanding of what's going on. Everything that's in that proposal, all our surrounding communities have the same stuff in there. Ours is unique because it has a lot of things that are outdated in it. The information that you're requesting from all the electricians and plumbers is very outdated.
There is a lot of stuff that you sent back to us that is just crossed out. I mean, a lot. Like, is it that
back to the heart, because I think the report was a little confusing. So if it was a zoning hearing that this individual had requested, then that wouldn't be the HARB committee not working with a resident. The HARB committee, as long as I've been up here and been a resident, they always are willing to work with people. I've seen people have to put decks down for porches, and they come in with crazy bids, and then HARB works with them. HARB, there are a ton of talented people on there that have been on there for a long time.
Oh, no,
You know, so
I
like,
agree with you 100%.
they do, my point is just that they will work with individuals. I've seen them do it before. I've seen them across the street as an example, the church with a roof. It was, I believe originally supposed to be slate, and they worked with them with like a faux slate kind of deal, and it decreased it by like $15,000. If they didn't do it, that building would be dilapidated. So they always, I just, you know, Ellie pops in my head, but her and team and everybody else who's on that committee, they do strive to work with people and help them, and that's the whole part. I think it's like almost like a discovery meeting when they first come in. Nobody has to pay to come to a HARB meeting. They just show up, they tell them that they're gonna be there, and then they kind of give them guidance as to what they wanna do. If you live within the historical area,
I mean, the only thing I'm
it's kind of part of it.
Yeah, the only thing I'm seeing is people are coming in with this assumption that they're not gonna get what they want.
I mean, I think we should reiterate that they will. That they, like, you'll get a fair shot.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's what I want to put through.
Yeah.
I would have rather the person who wanted to come in, you know, with the fences, or there was a couple, you know, just windows and doors and stuff coming in. Have them come in and talk and see what we can do rather than just, I don't want to do it, I can't do it.
Yeah, I would encourage them
I would, yeah.
to come in and the group, it's changed a little bit, but for the most part, it's been pretty solid.
Has
You
it
know.
been more than just that job, that one person?
That wasn't a hard project, that was just a regular fence.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, has there been a lot of people that come in and then say, oh no, it's too much?
There's not a lot, but there's a lot of people from what I'm hearing that don't even want to be bothered.
All right, I don't know what you're hearing, because I'm just curious, like, I don't know where I guess your network is completely off from my network, because I just don't see many people making complaints. I've been up here for 6 years, and I don't think it's been that much of a hardship for people to come in and get almost everything they want at what we have in there. Even with dated stuff, I feel like nobody's really had a rough time. I just feel like I just feel like it's very like you wanna make these changes, not everybody else. I think it's Walt wants to make these changes and not so much anybody else. And that's just my opinion,
That's fine.
and
I'm saying, finish reading it through. Let us go through the process, bring everybody else in. If everybody says, hey, this is crazy, no,
can I throw in there, has this cost us any money?
No.
Not 1 cent,
No.
anything that you've done.
Everything that we've done so far is just between, the zoning officer we have now and myself and different things that I've heard from.
Okay,
different
are we getting
contractors.
charged by the zoning for the work being done?
No, because everything that he has is already on his database.
Okay, is anybody else in play here? Any other vendor in this room to be in contact with anybody else in regards to this?
No, everything right now is informal. We're just doing all the groundwork and the legwork and pulling in all the information. No money.
And I mean, this zoning, just for everybody's record, when you ask for a zoning hearing, there's there's people professionals that have to be brought in. So if you're asking for that, that's part of it, right? It has to be, somebody's up here taking notes and doing all that stuff. So that, it helps the borough to not have to absorb all the costs that's associated with it.
I mean, has Ryan charged us for anything towards this? I mean, do we have anything? I mean, Nick Raven, do we have anything from Ryan in reference to all the work that's being done? Yeah, I'm just curious, like, with zero feedback from the residents, I don't know why we would spend another percentage trying to change it.
made changes yet, we're just
Yeah.
suggesting.
Yeah.
That's what, and
No,
Rich, within
no,
3
we're just
years,
doing
is
like-
that a date now? Cause you said 3 years, right?
Yeah, I thought that, I mean, I don't wanna phone a friend in the audience, but I know Sue put a ton of work with, and Len Pinto into, it was like a transitional thing, but it took like forever to do it, and it was done through the universal, you know, I guess, building code and everything, and we did the same thing, cause at that point, we were way less than everybody else as far as costs were concerned, and the borough was absorbing a ton of that, and it had to be brought to be equal, and to the best of my understanding, we were less than, not greater than everybody else, and we follow the same rules that everybody else does. So if you get a building permit, there's there's a way that the process works, you know, for all of them, and I think, personally, I think that we should, there are other things that could be looked at, quality of life issues. Sure, somebody, like, there's nobody right now looking for like trash issues or high grass, or, you know, when it was snowing, that there were, sidewalks that weren't done.
Yes.
That's the kind of stuff that I would be concerned with, rather than this type of stuff. That's just me though. I would be worried about that kind of stuff.
I agree with you.
So, I mean, that's just, you know.
All I'm asking is take a look.
Right.
Yeah.
So far, read it, and we'll bring everybody.
As long as there's no cost, then I guess it's worth the investigation. I still feel like it's a lot of work for something that I think would be crazy to change. Again,
Any other comments or questions? Okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and move on to communications with Counselor Boyce.
Thank you. So our transition with our email service. We are on target. The end date's May 1st, so we're on target with that date. It's been going fairly smoothly. Our firewall will be installed tomorrow, so that's wonderful. Our Microsoft licenses have been purchased, and we actually were able to remove some unnecessary licenses, and all unnecessary users have now been removed as well too. So I think we're doing good with that. So May 1st around the corner, and we haven't seen any hiccups. And again, Danielle and Tricia have been dealing with the day-to-day of all the nuances of this transition. So I thank you both for that, leaving us out of it. So we're doing good. We're where we should be, and I see no issues, hopefully. And historic, we did not meet. We just had a lot of personal conflicts with scheduling, so we did not meet this month. That was it. That's my report.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Awesome. Okay, thank you very much. And thank everybody for the hard work that we've seen done on the internet and the web services. I definitely appreciate that. And with that, we'll go ahead on to Parks and Properties with Councilor Gambit.
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna start with trash and recycling. I did talk about it in the workshop as we get into the season of people cleaning their yard, cutting grass, taking debris out of their yard. We do not have a yard waste day anymore, just to remind everybody. It is to be put out in your regular trash. You get 2 days a week that you put your yard waste out, and it'll be picked up. I still think it should be bundled as best as possible, just so the workers can get it safely in there, but most of the times, if you just have an empty can, you can just put them all in there and they'll take it. I just did it and all my stuff was picked up. So just a reminder, there's no more, the second and third Wednesday, fourth Wednesdays, or whatever it is, strictly just put it out and they will take it. Highway department, they're, like I said, they're moving, trying to get these parks in order and get everything else done. Like I said, thankfully, it looks like we're past the job, whatever, snow.
Maybe it's been so cold.
I know. So what, I am gonna reach it, we are asking, and we did talk about it a little bit, where, we're trying to get maybe 2 part-timers for the highway department for the summer to help with grass cutting and trash pickup. We've had these in the past, but due to, I think it was around COVID, and obviously with the Tower Hospital thing, we had to cut back on some things, but I feel like now's the time to try to get that back going again. It's a tremendous help, especially when the guys have their vacations in the summer, and it allows us get that done. We're still looking into some of the details of that, but I just wanted to put that out there. The other thing, as far as the parks and properties, we are applying for a DCNR park rehabilitation and development grant. The ideal, and I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but I will say the grant opportunity will allow the borough to undertake a much needed upgrade to Bonus Park, enhancing its usability, safety, and overall appeal for the residents and visitors. Planned improvements may include site enhancements, recreational amenities, and infrastructure upgrades. Trish and Danielle have been phenomenal with communicating with me. It's a matching grant. We don't have the numbers yet, so we're working on that. But we had to get it in. This was the week to get it in, so we're moving in the right direction, and we're looking forward to trying get some well-needed improvements for Bonus. To reiterate what the mayor was saying, the 9/11, to have an Eagle Scout, to me, that means a lot because that was built by Eagles. But it was an Eagle Scout project when it was built. So I feel like it's kind of like paying it forward. So I think it's a wonderful gesture. And to have the softball team come in and help, to me, that's what it's all about, volunteers, especially for that park. 36 hours, right? We're moving in the right direction with that. We're getting all the legal stuff done, and we're hoping in the near future that that will be possibly the 10th park added to the borough. So we plan on doing some signage there, basically welcome to the borough, and maybe putting some benches and stuff as far as making use of a piece of land that really can't be developed on for residential. It's really just a plot that a park would be perfect for. Not a recreation, not with any type of equipment, but basically like a welcome to Ridley Park, and I think it'll be a great future for people coming in, because really that is the area where you come in our town, and that's my report.
Thank you.
Mike, in reference to recycling, is it beneficial for us to introduce the cans again or any of this kind of thing? I think it's probably been about 8 years since we presented it, put it out there for residents, just at cost. But I think that kind of sends the right message and gets us really.
I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I know there's different things we're exploring grants through recycling. I know part of that grant that's possibly on the table. We can include that. Another part of that is also a leaf truck. That's what we utilize to get the last leaf truck is through that grant, and our leaf truck that we have now is kind of getting to that point where if we have an opportunity to replace it, we should. So it's definitely something we can do, and I'm sure there's something out there where we can get them. Obviously, even if it's a small matching grant, and then we can put it out there. So I would love it. Like I said, it's probably something that we can definitely explore. I think it would be great if we introduce them again. So, thank you.
Perfect, thank you very much, Councilor McGinley. All right, now I guess we'll move on to community affairs with Councilor Gear.
All right, good evening, everyone. If we can, we'll start with the recreation board.
Hi, first of all, we want to thank all the families and neighbors who came out to the Easter egg hunt in Bonus Park at the beginning of April. We had a beautiful day and a wonderful turnout for the event. And we're grateful to the neighbors in the first precinct who helped us set up that day and hide the eggs. So it was nice to involve the people in this movement. Our cardio dance series continues this Thursday at 6 p.m. We added 2 classes, April 23rd and April 30th. This week is Taylor Swift night, and next week is country themed. So we meet downstairs, it's $10 payable directly to the instructor, cash or Visa. There's lots more things coming up in May with the Planks in the Park series, yard sale day, and the Day at the Lake event. Registration is open for yard sale day and the summer playground camp. So visit the Recreation Board on Facebook to register for these events and to stay up to date on all the events that we have coming up.
National Library Workers Day, so I just want to shout out all the folks that work at the library, all the hard work they do. So onto my report, the library's air conditioning went out on 4/15, thanks to our borough manager. She had Mariana Mechanical out there the same day. We're still waiting on the parts, but today obviously we don't need it. April 8th, we wrapped our third successful tax season with AARP. This year, we assisted 114 taxpayers file their federal, state, and their local income tax, as well as preparing property tax rebates. I'm looking forward to welcoming them back again next year and hoping we can get even more people in. It's an incredibly valuable service. I really want to thank everyone who came out this past weekend for our book and bake sale. Thanks to the community's generosity, we raised over $2,000 for library programs and services. I also want to extend my sincere gratitude to the local businesses who supported us by donating items for our raffle. Our borough manager helped us prepare for the sale. Our highway department brought all the books from the library to the community room. And I want to thank all the volunteers that came and made sure our event was a success. I'm also very excited to share that the Office of Commonwealth Libraries has awarded the borough the Keystone Grant for Library Facilities for $30,000. This is a matching grant, so we already have $30,000 set aside, so that's an additional $60,000 to the $700,000 that we already have from the LSA. These funds will be used for exterior and interior improvements to prevent water infiltration into the basement. So excited to see that project get started. Finally, March statistics. We saw a 16% increase in circulation over February in March, which is phenomenal. Our library visits were down by about 5%, but I'm really hoping once we have the dirt pile gone, that will go back up. We saw a 32% increase in adult program attendance. We did see a drop in teen and children's program attendance, but I'm hoping we have some fabulous things coming this summer that I'm hoping will bring people back to the library.
Thank you very much. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Councilor Fiera. And are there any comments or questions? All right, next will be Finance and Personnel, Council Vice President Grant.
So to start out, I had it, our beginning balance for this month was $1,088,382.58. The revenues for this month were $1,856,976.61. And the expenses were $843,226.99, for an ending balance of $2,102,132.20. Earlier this month, I did get the opportunity to meet with Chief Eckenrode and Karen Young at the firehouse, and Chief Thomas, and with Katie, the librarian, for first quarter check-ins. So I'm very grateful, first of all, that they gave me their time and really gave me a full rundown of where they're at, what their concerns are, and I'm hopeful that we'll at least, that'll give us a kind of roadmap going forward. I do have some ideas. I have to circle back with you guys on a couple things. But I'm hopeful to get, as much accomplished within the next few years, and this year. And yeah, that concludes my report.
Any comments or questions?
Maybe in the future, if you could make me aware of that meeting, I would love to attend, give a little input.
So, I have a couple things. Quarter one closed out with our numbers. Raven, you looked at the overall quarter one numbers?
Yes, I didn't.
So there's several, we are over our budget already.
Yeah.
Well over our budget. And then there are 5 more that we are at 38% or above our budget. Like we're up to the 100, so we're 38% of the 100% budget. So tracking that from quarter 1. What are we doing? Especially like, so the overage, what are we doing for that?
That's the legal.
Uh-huh.
For that, honestly, I mean, there's a few things that we've talked about, is just, mostly just, keeping things to, like, a minimum, having Trish or Emily talking with the solicitor and making sure that any questions we have are just ready to go and that time is saved as much as we can.
Where are we pulling the money, because we're 17 grand over, so where are we pulling that 17 grand fund from? There in the budget.
I mean, last year we were also over budget for legal fees, by about 3 times the budgeted amount.
Luckily, it wasn't that, we had Taylor Hospital, so we had a separate solicitor handling that, so if you base it off of our borough solicitor, we weren't even close to the number that we're at right now. So if you take away the solicitor we used for Taylor, we're not even close to, like, we're less, we're not there.
Oh,
No, I mean,
I missed that.
okay, I mean, she got it.
And one of the other ones is the engineer. She's not over, but we are at. She's on track. If she keeps on track with what we're getting now, she will be 40,000 over at the end of the year. So that's another big thing I think we need to be aware of. So also we have our sewer, we're at 38% of the budget. Our fire, we're at 44%. Our insurance, we're at 53%. Health officer, board of health secretary, we're at 32% of that budget. And computer services, we're at 45% of that budget. They just seem pretty high to me being quarter 1, and that's where we're at. So I foresee this being a big issue, going forward. That's all, you know. And I understand, and this isn't, with the solicitor, anybody coming in new needs to sit and go, I don't know you, I need to look at your books, I need to review your history. So anybody, Sally down the street, if we hired her to come in and be the new solicitor, they would have to put the time in and charge accordingly. I think that should have been a consideration and an understanding, just that's how business works. So when you reopened the budget and saw that it was fine and closed it with no changes, that should have been consideration, and money should have been moved around to cover that. Because again, anyone new, even the engineer, anyone new coming in is gonna have to sit there and spend time and charge accordingly. This just circles back to the beginning issues, I think, of wiping the slate clean with everyone that we've worked with, and we're now seeing the hurt from it, you know? Yeah, that's part of, the prep meeting, is being
But
charged.
is that for every meeting? Like, I can understand early on, get the feel for the actual.
Yes, it looked like it was for every meeting. I'm just saying, no comments, no questions, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there are issues, and it is gonna be an ongoing conversation, with, Trish and Danielle, as well as, everybody else.
So, get back to her point about like the engineering money, and I get it, but a lot of things, like, and I know sometimes it takes time to do some things, but not much has been done. there was time, it was put out there to them, and maybe it's just not knowledge that these are the jobs, but it's a small town with a lot of responsibility on that engineer. And this is all stuff that we said early on before this all started. And again, I keep going back, but losing the experience in who he had, and knowledge and stuff that he will be able to lay on certain things because of his knowledge, being that he was in the next town over and could be here in no time.
He'll be like, charging us.
Yeah, he wouldn't, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
he just wouldn't charge us for a quick phone call or quick, like, hey, we gotta do this needs to be done, it just was done, but not to mention his knowledge of the sewers, the knowledge of how things are done. That was the stuff we reiterated over and over again early on, saying we don't wanna lose that. Look at all the other towns that switched. A lot of them didn't give up the engineer because they know how tough that is to replace. And again, getting back to what Melissa said, you opened the budget and you knew what these vendors are charging us. And I hate that we're not allowed to have this conversation in executive session, but I was told we can't. So it has to be out here in the open. And not much is coming back our way as a result, especially when it comes to the engineering part. And I'm sorry, I know that sounds harsh. I would have loved to have done this behind closed doors, but it can't be done that way according to our solicitor. So when and where are these things going to be done for the amount of money that we are up to so far? I'm worried about the library plans. I'm worried about stuff like that. Because I know what Charles had in mind, and I know what's sort of happening now, so I don't know where that's gonna be. And I'll be devastated if that man worked so darn hard to get that grant, it kind of doesn't go the way we want it to go. So I'll leave it at that, but we're heading down a dark road.
Any other comments or questions? All right, so with that, we will move on to community orgs with Counselor Harris.
Thank you. There was a meeting with the Ridley Park Business Association on 4/15 to plan out the logistics of the coming First Fridays. If you don't already have those dates are on May 1st, June 5th, July 3rd, August 7th, September 4th. Hopefully we can vote on and approve the rest of those dates tonight. I very much appreciate it from the rest of council. That's all I have for my report today.
All right, any comments or questions? Hearing none, with that, we leave with public safety, which would be me. I will go ahead and start with Chief Thomas.
Good evening, everybody. Public safety report for the month of March. The police department calls for service, we had 255 for the month, 810 year-to-date. Criminal arrests, we had 1, bringing us up to 8 for the year. Prisoners held in cells, 1, bringing us up to 3. Citations issued, 38 traffic citations, bringing us up to 76 for the year. Non-traffic, 5. Bring us up to 10. Parking 36, bringing us up to 80. Total citations issued 79, bringing us up to 166. Traffic warnings 6, bringing us up to 20 for the year. Parking tickets issued 121, bringing us up to 263 for the month of March.
Thank you very much, Chief Thomas. And following up with, Chief Eckenrode, thank you.
Good evening. Fire report for March 2026. There were 31 calls from the central listed. Total time of service was 9 hours and 8 minutes. Staff hours of 49 hours and 22 minutes, with cumulative firefighters responding at 141. We just
Board of Health, last met at 7 p.m. on March 25th in Borough Hall, and they'll meet next on April 22nd, so tomorrow night, again at 7 p.m. in Borough Hall. And my only update in terms of the Board of Health would be that, in response to some concerns from residents about the potential health and safety risks and challenges that this presents, they'll be working on an ordinance to address the feeding of feral cats, stray cats, animals generally. They're working right now on looking at some language from neighboring municipalities, and trying to draft that, so they'll work with council, and we'll get to check everything out and make sure that that's looking good. I had also been addressed some complaints from residents and concerns about the health and safety risks that poses, and definitely understood in terms of feeding stray cats. Can be cute until you get the raccoons and the foxes that also try to come up and eat the cat food because they don't discriminate. Then you run into them at night, and that's not so much fun. So very understandable. So they'll be working on that. And I think for me that is all that I have left on the end of things for public safety. Any comments or questions? Okay. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it over to Trish for the manager's report.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to give a huge thank you to Nick Furman for all his work that he did complete on the tot lot. If you have a chance to go over there, he did implement some trees and did a very nice job. So thank you to Nick Furman. I also want to let you know, I've been in discussions with PennDOT along with the mayor and Danielle Saccone about Sellers Avenue. They did do a traffic study. I'm waiting on those results. So as soon as I have those results, I will certainly provide them. I also contacted PennDOT on my own regarding the traffic study that was completed back on, 2 months ago on Ward and Swarthmore. And I was informed that after the study, the traffic lights between Swarthmore Avenue, DuPont and Sellers were retimed, so that should help with the congestion and turning on Swarthmore Avenue. I do know there was just a recent accident over there, and that's what arose my call to PennDOT, so they are aware. I am calling them frequently. Unfortunately, Andy is not here, so I can tell him that I do contact PennDOT frequently. I also want to let the borough is submitting an application to the DCNR next week for park rehabilitation for Bonus Park. There is a letter in everybody's folder. If you could just take a quick look at it before I submit the letter to DCNR. The transition to the new IT, the managed IT provider is underway. Both vendors are working collaboratively to ensure a smooth and seamless transition for the Borough Hall operations. Councilman Boyce did mention that we will have the firewall installed tomorrow at 9 a.m. It will require us to be shut down for approximately 20 minutes, but then after 20 minutes we should be up and running. And I can honestly say there's been no problem with the email. It's been a smooth transition. I did have a question when they were purchasing a license for Microsoft. I called them. I got an individual. They worked with me on the phone. I didn't have to place a ticket, so it's been terrific. So thank you, ladies, both of us. We are actually saving money, so I am very appreciative to that. Also, I'm requesting that council consider and approve the engagement letter from the CLA to complete the 2025 audit. A copy of the engagement letter was provided at the last meeting, and there's a motion for approval tonight. So if we can approve that, we can certainly roll right into the 25 audit once the 24 is completed. I did speak to the auditor yesterday, and we are planning an on-site visit, so that would certainly progress the 24 audit to move hopefully quickly. In the next week or two, the borough will be borrowing Swarthmore Borough's speed counter to conduct the speed study for Decon and Tome. Once that's completed, we'll certainly provide those results as well. I want to give an update on the lake fountain. Mariana Mechanical has been working tirelessly to get that fountain up and running. They had it in. Once they started the fountain, it blew a circuit, so now there's some electrical problems. There's also unexpected repairs that need to be done to the pump. So it is my hope, and I pray, that this will be installed and up and running any day now. So, and I do want to touch base on a subject that came up at workshop regarding mosquitoes. I did reach out to the county again. They will be spraying for mosquitoes again this summer. I did call my fellow municipalities and I spoke to them, and they are not providing their own service, they are also going with the county. So, council, we can decide whether or not we're gonna provide, highway this year, spraying for the mosquitoes, but I did speak to the county, and they had said, if I need, them to concentrate along the lake, I just need to request that, and that will be done. So, with that concludes my report at this moment.
Can I just add something? So, just to follow up with Nick Furman, like, he also is very involved with the, lake cleanup, and I think sometimes he gets forgotten. Nick does a lot for this borough, especially, and that top guy, he did a phenomenal job,
He did.
so thank you.
At his own cost,
Yep.
so thank you again.
Thank you very much, Trish. And with that, we'll next go ahead to the solicitor's report with Ron.
Yes, I will be brief. First of all, the proposed EMS consortium that I know Councilman Guerra keeps asking me about. I heard rumors that they were waiting on Ridley Park to do something. I made sure to reach out to the other solicitors in the proposed consortium here along the Chester Pike border. Say, hey, we're waiting for you guys. We're eager to get this going. So that has been put out there, and I'm waiting to hear back from the other solicitors on that. There is another matter for consideration on the agenda, the stipulation for discontinuance to settle the Sunshine Act litigation.
Okay, any comments or questions? And thank you very much, Ron. So next we'll move on to the engineer's report with Kelly.
Thank you, Madam President. For the record, this is Kelly Goff with RBE, the Borough Engineer. Under the Sellers Avenue project, Seller Avenue's Bridge project, this is a PennDOT administered project, involves the reconstruction of the bridge carrying Sellers Avenue over Amtrak, and is being funded through federal sources. PennDOT has indicated to me that unforeseen utility conflicts have been identified. They indicated that they will continue to make efforts to meet the bridge open model date of July 1st, but they did indicate that the utility conflicts may impact that July 1st date. Once I hear more information, I will report that to the borough.
That's not good.
Yeah. So under the Rosemont Avenue Sewer Project, we made recommendation for final payment at the end of March. This is being funded through the CDBG funding agency. And that concludes my report unless anyone has any questions.
I mean, I'm gonna chime in on the bridge. I just need, Kel, you to bring your A game and be as forceful as you can, that's critical to our town. We hope to tie that into our July 3rd event as well as our July 4th event, like so many things rest on that. So, hopefully pushing on it now in April will pay dividends for us to make that date of July 1st.
Yeah, I will continue to reiterate how important it is to have that July 1st date. Unfortunately, this is a PennDOT administered project, so Ridley Park doesn't necessarily control the schedule, but I will continue to reiterate the importance of that date.
Can we maybe just try to find out if it would be accessible by pedestrians, and maybe, like, where it's
Some element of
like, it's stable enough and it's open, like, obviously they might not be ready for cars, but due to the foot traffic that we expect to have in the area, at least have.
Yes, I can reach out to them about that.
Can I add something? I have been in constant contact with Sarah from Senator Kearney's office. She actually wanted to get, a completion date because her hope is to rename it after former Mayor Hank Everly. She wanted to reach out to some constituents and see if, so she is actually on it with PennDOT as well to make sure that date is July of 2026. So she is also putting some pressure as well as Kelly and myself.
I thought I saw an email that said something about eventually the pedestrian bridge will be moved, and then traffic would go across the bridge to walk. Can you just check on that?
Yeah, I can
See if if there's a date for that?
Sure.
Because I know when we put that up, it was like a huge deal to be able to get across. I thought I saw an email, but I wasn't
I will
100%
check
sure.
on that for you.
Thank you.
And is it being, like, is there a new detour in place coming up?
There's gonna be a new detour starting next week. I believe some of the signs are up. It's called Phase 3. And you have that information?
Yes.
That you want to provide to council?
I can, I guess what I would recommend is posting, if you can post the detour on your social media
Sure.
page to inform people, I think that would be helpful.
Yes, of course.
Okay. Okay, and, you have one more thing?
Yeah, one more thing, not to slow things up, but we'll slide here one more time. So again, banners, $50 for your home, backyards, front lawns, somewhere. This is gonna help us pay down our 4th of July event that's just a monster for our town. Again, over here, if you don't have an opportunity where this works for you, let's go with a small sign, right? Let's stick with it here, right? Then I'm gonna slide over here. Because people always ask about swag today. How do we get Parker gear? How do we show, represent that we live, play, work, really work? I mean, strong. Look at these hats. Red, white, and blue. The Parker uniforms this year all represented the 250th year of America with side patches, 250 year. Just really, really cool. We got these in 6 different colors, right? Then over here, these were our opening day shirts, right? For all the kids. RP, striped up. Look at our slogan. When you play for the Parkers of Ridley Park, you're a Parker for life. Nothing stronger than that, and all our great sponsors. So I know you want a shirt, everybody on here, shirts, hats, before we get to the important stuff. Thank you.
Of course. And with that, if there's no other comments or questions about our swag, we'll move on to public comment. Or, I'm so sorry, no, I meant council business. Skip this step. So this is an opportunity for any member of council to discuss any topic with regard to the borough that they choose, and so we'll start down at this end with Councilor Vieira.
Now let's get this started.
Yes.
Hopefully it goes pretty quick. Just to reiterate what Ron talked about with the EMS, for everybody's knowledge, we actually have a meeting tomorrow with the group along the Chester Pike corridor, the elected officials, the fire chiefs, EMS personnel, the people who have been really the heart and soul of putting everything together, just to basically dot our I's and cross our T's. Anything that's not legal, that these fine gentlemen will handle, we're gonna make sure that that's good to go. Once we're good to go, and Ron has his verbiage, again, I will provide that to all council, everybody to look at, make sure it's good, and then we can vote on it. So we are moving along faster than we were. A lot more progress, and I made sure that they knew Ridley Park was first. We were not holding anything up. So that's number 1. Number 2, wanted to let everybody know, and I guess this would be Josh, probably, the signage for the downtown that we had talked about, Trish and I were working together. Took a couple pictures of our downtown and then was trying to get a couple other municipalities that use meter parking or, stuff like that, and then try to go work together in double side. So hopefully we'll have that done within the next, month or 2 for everybody. And then, what else do we have? Signed in downtown, EMS. Plate to plate. Everybody may have potentially received a mailer that looks like this. This is part of our Chester Pike group that we are a part of with everyone up and down the corridor. The Bike to Pike event will be on May 30th. Starts down in Sharon Hill and ends in Ridley Park. So wonderful event. They're going to be giving away some swag, a couple helmets for the kids, different things of that nature. It's been a long time coming, and this event's going to be tremendous. They have 100 people signed up already to Bike to Pike. I'm not one of them. I'll be there for moral support, but it's a really great event. It's a really good thing to try to highlight the corridor, the Chester Pike corridor, our downtown which are the heart and soul, of the community. So I have extra flyers if anybody needs them, but they should have been mailed to everybody. And I think that's all that I have.
Thank you very much, Counselor Kiera.
There you go.
Very, very good comments about the Bike for the Hike. I'm really glad we're highlighting that. I've seen a lot about it on social media, so I'm glad to hear how many people are going to be participating. And next, Counselor McGinley.
So I just got a couple things. First thing, I should have mentioned this during my report. Just a reminder, May 9th is the e-waste event. It'll be at the lake. It's where you want to bring your TVs, any electronics. Is shredding also going to take place there or no? Okay. Just the electronics, but like I said, you basically just got to come down. If you're coming down the lake, come down Ridley to the lake, you're going to go right towards Lakeview, and then you're going to see cones out. If you're dropping off, because there's usually ball games going on down there, you're going to stay to the left of the cones and just drive up, open up your hatch or your trunk or your back seat, and the crew there will get the stuff out. You do not have to exit your car. They'll get everything out for you. Just tell them what you have to get, anything you want to do. It's a great event. It's like I said, 9 and noon, I think it is, and like I said, it usually goes flawless. So again, it's done on Constitution, as if you're going in front of Lakeview. You'll stay to the left where the parking area is. That's where we're set up. So drive-through.
You need to register for that?
No registration needed. And look, I mean, you got to be a resident of Ridley Park, but we just like to get everybody through and get their stuff because it goes to a good place and it's time to get it out of the basement. So. The other thing I want to talk about is something that has been talked about through public comment a little bit throughout the start of this year, and it was a little bit, the start of the year was a little bit hard getting organized. So, but I do think it's time that we move that money back in the capital reserve. When we came into the year, there was $621,000 there. There was more than enough to do it, but it would have been irresponsible for us to do this with a new council coming in. But I do feel like right now, especially with all these grants that we're asking, that are matching grants and different things, it's pretty important for us to take that money, whatever the number was, and put it back into the capital reserve. So I would like to see about making a motion tonight to have that done, but I'll let you guys make that decision. I just feel like, yes, it is time to do it. Like I said, it took some time to get organized. I feel like we're in a spot right now that we need to start making sure we do the right thing, especially with the matching grants. That money will go to the cause. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Counselor McGinley. Just to kind of touch base on that, I think that's a really good comment about the capital reserve fund, getting that money back. Just want to see how the rest of the council feels about that, if we do want to make a motion to amend the agenda and add that onto the agenda tonight. Does anybody else have any thoughts or comments?
I don't think we should do it tonight. I would like to do it as well, but I would want to check in with Trish and Danielle to make sure that it's feasible.
Why not half?
I mean, I would want to do as much as is.
You could do 325, and then, if stable enough, boom, do another hit.
I mean, what is the number that was requested? Yes, total is 300.
310.
310. Not that you were counting, right?
I moved it, my count.
So, yeah, I mean,
You can check the council meeting minutes, but it's 310.
well, on record that we want to do it, so that's.
Absolutely.
But if you have reservations, then. Are we
Tabling it?
tabling it, are we voting? I mean, is this something we still vote on regardless if Raymond doesn't think we should do it or not?
I'm just, I mean, we can.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can bring the motion forward,
Yeah.
and somebody seconds it, and
Yeah, absolutely. So
I make a motion that we move the 300, is that?
Motion to amend the agenda.
Motion to amend the agenda.
to add that action
To
item.
add that action item of replenishing the capital reserve to the number that was, which if
We'll verify,
We'll
the 300,
verify.
yeah.
between now and the action.
Do I have a second?
I have a second.
Counselor Boyce seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay.
Do we have
So again, this is to add it to
It's
the
just to add it
agenda.
to the agenda, so it's not for, this isn't the vote to approve it.
It's to add it to the
Oh,
agenda.
add it to, yep, sure.
It's to add it to the
Okay.
agenda.
So, let's do roll call on that, just to make sure. Counselor Guerra? Counselor McGinley?
Aye.
Counselor Boyce?
Aye.
Aye. Counselor Moran? And the ayes have it, so the motion carries and that is added to the agenda on the action items list. All right, so, with that, I guess we'll move on to Counselor Boyce. Anything for, Counselor Boyce?
No new business, but going with actually the motions, I wanted to see if we can change the wording to, where is it? The mini pros, mini pros. Goodness, I know my other thing in here.
Any first?
Oh, right there. Motion to accept Mini Pros plan. I had questioned this and got some clarification. Because I don't like the way this is worded. It says to accept the Mini Pros plan. I don't wanna accept the plan. The clarification was that it's really to accept that it's closed out. Not that we're going to move forward with any of the suggestions or anything yet, because that has not been proposed to us. We have not discussed that as a council, what their suggestions were. So I would like it, how do I have it? This is just to change the wording on the agenda. To say that we are accepting the completion of the study, not that we are accepting the plan. I just feel that in the future, this could get a little muddy with just the wording of it. We're just accepting and that's what we're doing, is accepting the completion of the plan, that's it. So that's just I propose the motion to amend the wording for the Mini Pros to say accepting completion of the study.
Absolutely, I'll second that. I think that's definitely adds some clarity to the agenda. Any comments or questions? None. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And the motion carries, so that is added to the agenda, or amended the language for that, for the agenda.
Yeah, and that's it,
Okay, so, on to me, I'll be very brief. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out. It is not the day, but, I believe it was yesterday, was National Volunteers Day. So I just wanted to give a shout out to all the volunteers who do wonderful things in our borough, between the beautification, as, Mayor Berger has put out a call for, and he's gotten a lot of response. Trish mentioned Nick Furman and all the work that he does, and Councilman McGinley mentioned with the lake cleanup and with the top lot. Everyone who puts, their time, their energy, and, their heart into making the borough the place that we all love to live in. Thank you very much. And, just on the note of volunteerism, I think we did just post on the Equity Borough, Facebook, I'm not sure if it's on the website, but the, call for volunteers for the 4th of July. So if everybody can give that a look, if you have the time to spare, if you would like to pitch in for a really cool, really historic day in the borough, it's gonna be a really fantastic event. Think about, putting your name in there and joining us for a really great time. And if you know anybody else who might have the time and has the interest, pass the message along. And that is, I think, about it for me in terms of new business. Councilor Grant? Councilor Taggart?
The only thing I have is, a few months ago, I think it was 5 of us at the county health board, and I haven't heard anything since then. Is there anything going on, or we're gonna be working with them, or not, or are we?
So we work with the county board of health, and like, I think the way that it was explained in that meeting, on Zoom was, and it was a few months ago, so forgive me if I don't have the exact wording right, but we work with them in the capacity that they work with us for infectious diseases, certain aspects of the, public health, that our communicate with them in that way. They keep in communication with us as to policies, changes, anything like that, or anything going on locally that we need to be aware of. So we do work with them, and we are in communication. I don't know if that answers the question.
They're not doing any of the inspections on the restaurants or?
No, so the restaurants, I think the schools inspections are the county board of health, and that's the distinction. Our local board of health does our restaurant inspections, any like food vendors, anybody selling anything in our area, they are inspected by the Ridley Park Board of Health. And we do have our own health officer, Dan Dietrich. Yeah, absolutely.
The Board of Health at this point, like we have our own health officer, would be the equivalent of what you're looking at for code. It is like double or triple with our businesses as far as like inspecting and everything else. I mean, it is literally, quite literally, an inspection, I think is like maybe $150, $200. When the county has come in prior to our legal action that we had, talking about upward like $400, $500 for the same inspection. So it's that's the way I would equate it, if it's easier to understand. It really helps our businesses to have somebody local. I know another example would be when Rosemary's open. Rosemary's wouldn't have opened for 120 days after it opened if we hadn't had our own health inspector. The county said, we'll get to you in 120 days. It doesn't really work, you know what I mean, when you're trying, especially some of the Gaslight, you know, recent investment in that. When we need somebody, you know, we can reach out and just say, hey, can you come over and inspect this, versus trying to set up an appointment. It's a little bit difficult and the cost. So as long as we can do that, if everybody's okay with it, then it really does help our business as well.
And it's important to understand that they follow the same code, they have the same reports. They make sure there's a food safe individual on premise, just like, you know, the county would. And all that's really important for the public to know that the establishments in Ridley Park are able safely.
So does that answer the question? Okay. Anything else? No. Counselor Harris?
Nothing new today.
Gotcha. Okay, so with.
Can I do a go back?
Oh, absolutely.
This is popping in my head.
Go right ahead.
I know there was talk, and I think it was like side talk, a side conversation I had heard, about our towing service. That there was talk of possibly changing that. I don't think anything ever came of it?
No.
Okay.
No, nothing's.
That's it, thank you.
Okay. So, anybody else? Anything?
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Mayor, you had mentioned volunteers. I think I sent to you, a Girl Scout who actually, she's looking for her Eagle Scout. And she wants to do a mental health butterfly garden, which I think is a terrific idea. So, and when we spoke to DCNR, any volunteers with Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, we can also use to our match. So I think we're gonna, you know, with council's approval, we may have that butterfly memorial mental health garden in Bonus Park. So that may be on the agenda. I mean, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but I was very excited about that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I think that's really, and especially in Bonus Park, I think that would be a really great addition. And I love the involvement from the local scouts. That's really cool. So anybody else going once, going twice? All right, sold. So on that note, we'll move on to public comments. We'll open it up at this time. Any resident of Ridley Park will have the opportunity to address council. If you would like to speak, please come up to the podium, state your name and address, and you will have 5 minutes.
Sandy Cass, 317 Bergen Avenue. The lady
anybody if they're like in the middle of something or talking, but I try to get at least one around this side and one around this side.
We had also approved an update of our system. We had
I
also
think we
approved.
all, I was gonna say, we all held it tonight, I think except just for Josh and Walt, but I think we all held it tonight, didn't we?
Where's the little green thing that comes in?
That's
That's
for
down-
that's for the TV, I think.
Microphone.
The microphone you keep picking up.
Oh, no, the little one, there's a little guy on the thing.
The little one's for the TV service. The one you're holding in your hand, which is like, you should be holding up too, talking into it.
Now this is for the chief, and I don't know who else to go to. We have a problem on Burke Avenue. Part of it was solved with, a stop sign, a stop sign, and another stop sign. And the chief had, things out, count how many cars are down the street and blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? It's not working. So I don't know what you're gonna do, chief. I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but somebody's gonna get killed on Burke Avenue. So somebody's gonna have to do something. We need 2 more stop signs, because when they get to the first one, the next house has another one, 2. You put them up in.
Yeah, that's part of going over there, yeah.
That first stop sign needs to be on Bartlett and across the street at my house. To stop them at Bartlett, the next street is Stiles, and the next street is Johnson. So would be 3 stop signs instead of 2, which it doesn't do any good anyway. They just go straight on down.
So Sandy, when they get to the stop, so the chief and I went out and we talked to a couple residents and everything.
Right.
When they get, so if they're coming down the street towards Chester Pike, when they get to the stop sign, they're speeding again, or they're blowing the stop, or are they blowing the stop sign?
They might stop a little bit.
Like a South Philly Road kind of deal?
And some
Yeah.
do it good, others,
No, okay.
it's just a waste.
We can take a look at it, right, chief?
Yes.
And now with all these, motor bicycles or battery bicycles, they're just coming up and down the street like they're down Daytona. So, something has to be done with that.
Take a look at it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other night, Tuesday night, there was, 6 of them. They didn't come up behind each other, I guess they waited till they got down to Hinckley Avenue. And then another one would come, a different one, and a different one, and a different one. So, something has to be done. Is anybody gonna do anything?
We will definitely go over with the chief,
Absolutely.
and we'll take a look at it and see, we spent some time, we had asked, residents and stuff, and it seemed like the way that it's set up is the best, but we can always we'll revisit it, for sure. We'll come over and see you, alright?
Hey.
Come hang out.
Well, good call.
I missed you the last time.
You got a couple acres there.
I got it.
You're gonna pay for that. Thank you so much for your time, Matt. I appreciate it.
Go ahead.
See that, what he did?
Mike Doherty, 315 Burke. Yes, you can come to my house for coffee and work early, but that won't happen. I don't know who did the signs, did a wonderful job. Did you do them, Bob, or?
I had a company do it, yep, with my input. I don't wanna say who, because I'm really hoping that people look at the burns, and we could do some great fundraising here, so.
I think it'd be a great shirt,
Okay.
great t-shirt. I know
You're
some
looking for a
people.
t-shirt? Mike?
Pardon me?
Mike, you're looking for a t-shirt?
I gotta tell you that a lot.
Because I'm ready, Mike.
But, the Parker's, nice t-shirt. But I think for this year, I think people would really be fired up about that one. It's really
Right.
great. Whoever did the thing for you did a very nice job. And, Trish and Danielle, you guys get so much accolades and you deserve everyone for all the stuff you do. Everybody throws stuff on you and, you know, but you do a great job of it, so. Sandy's right, it's still bad. It's still bad, because 10th Avenue coming off of 420, there's only a stop sign on Monroe. So when you leave down 420, you come all the way up, and they blow up there, and then they just make a left to go down, quick, right down to Chester Pike. It's a mess, and hopefully we get at least another stop sign. The other thing is there anything going on, I read a lot in the Times about Taylor and Crozier. Do we know anything that's going on with Crozier? There was somebody looking into buying it. Taylor, there was stuff going on. Do we know anything?
So I can say that I did see the recent update. I think they just held a town hall, down by Widener's campus on Crozier. They did get, somebody came in and purchased the hospital. They said that, whether this will come to fruition or not, I don't know, but they said their plan is to try to reopen the hospital within the next 3 years, but not, at the full capacity that it was open, like the size of the campus. They're going to focus on primary care, probably trying to get primary care back open in that building or in the campus within the next months to years, and then try to get EMS and focus more on the emergency, the primary care, and some inpatient care. So I would like to see that definitely come to fruition. Whether that'll be the case or not, only time will tell.
Keep our fingers crossed. It's progress being made. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you.
Good evening, Mike Gale, 51 Collier Circle. I know there's an action item on the agenda for the mini pros plan. I guess you're just gonna accept or whatever the adjustment.
Wording is just that,
Yeah.
the survey is completed.
My question is, can you put it on the borough website so people can see that? I was gonna ask for the
I have not
executives.
seen the plan either, like that's.
And once it gets improved, is that a public document or is it, are people gonna, or, I guess I should say, when are the residents gonna see the plan?
Well, the plan that I have now is probably over 75 pages, so it's a little bit too big to put on the website now. I'm waiting for JMT to get me a condensed version that would be more feasible to put on the website. And then obviously, anytime you're welcome to come and take a look at what I have now.
Okay, I'd like to see the whole thing, actually. I just want to mention Spirit Park, and I think it's a good idea, or it's great that somebody's going to look at that and fix up that park. And also, I believe this year's the 25th anniversary of 9/11, so I wanted to mention there's a dead tree in that park. We've asked about it, me and other people, last year before, maybe even. So it'd be great to get rid of that and get it out there and make that look nice. Thank you. I wanted to talk about this last action item on the agenda tonight, the motion to accept the stipulation to discontinue the litigation that was being filed. The dockets in the case are available for public view. I've looked at them, and after reading the docket entries, it's my opinion, this is my personal opinion, that the lawsuit is frivolous and was rendered moot when the Borough Council subsequently voted to approve the motions to reappoint the appointments that were originally made on January 13th at the special meeting, and then subsequent to that, they approved the appointment of Patricia Hollabach as the borough manager. I'm asking that before the vote takes place, if I'm interested in what the actual stipulation is and what has been agreed to, and I'm asking if someone could read that stipulation before you actually do the vote. You don't need to read the whole thing, but if you want to read the whole thing, I don't know how long it is, how short short it is, but I would just ask that at least the portion of the stipulation that it states what is agreed to, if it's one paragraph, two paragraphs, three paragraphs, whatever. I'm just asking you to consider to read that out loud before you vote on it. I wanted to ask about a preliminary budget, excuse me. 2026 preliminary budget. That was prepared last October, and there's a line item in there for an expense labeled Ridley Park Athletic Club field work in the amount of $10,000. Prior to this, I guess most of the times in the prior budgets, we've allocated either $500 or $1,000 to the Ridley Park Athletic Club, so that was $10,000. But there's, after the election, and at the December 16th meeting, when the final budget was approved, that $10,000 was actually increased to $25,000. So there's a $25,000 line item in the current budget. And I don't have any issues or anything with the athletic club, don't get me wrong, and I respect all the work that all the volunteers put into that. But what I'd like to know is how is this money considered a donation to the athletic club, which the club can use for anything that may be necessary, or is this a specific project that you're looking at?
Mike, I can speak to this.
Sure.
First of all, the answer is no, it is not a donation to
Okay.
the athletic club. Approximately 4 years ago, it was determined by the borough that the ball fields at ABC Field, all three backstops were jagged, loose fencing, had a host of things. Pricing was done, updated pricing. At one point, Rich Tutak, the borough manager at the time, got 3 responsible bidders to come in and look at the project, and prices were given. The work was not done because of the borough's financial
Yeah, when was that? Next year?
situation. No,
Or-
2023 was when
Okay.
the estimates came into the borough.
Okay.
Ultimately, that work was not done.
Okay.
So the goal with the new budget that was done by the council was to ultimately have this work done.
Okay.
Also, understand that when you're saying the donation line of 500 or 1,000, that's traditionally made to the nonprofit groups within the borough. That has not been done for some time. That is not part of this. There's field work that needs to get done each and every year to make the field safe. There's dirt, there's grooming, a host of various things, and this is done by outside vendors. Or it's done by the highway team.
Yeah,
You
I
have a choice.
usually thought it was done by the highway team.
It can be,
And the borough
last year
purchased
it was done, but the previous 8 years it was done by, J. Down and Associates, down there on Chester Pike. They took on the work. And traditionally it costs somewhere between, from my understanding, 4,000 to 5,000
Okay.
for that work.
So that field prep is part of this, 25,000?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in the end, with costs and things like that, I'm hopeful that this fence work can get done. I'll do everything in my power to try to work with the borough to hopefully get it done, but I don't know where this project will ultimately come in. And again, if there's not funding, then I'm hoping it doesn't get kicked down. The can doesn't continue to get kicked.
Thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no problem.
I just wanted,
I'm
from
happy
my
to-
point of view, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot,
Yeah.
to me, it's a lot, but.
Yeah.
And, right now, I don't have any opinion either way.
Right.
But, I mean, that's for council to decide, so, and I assume it hasn't been dispersed yet, as of
No.
yet? Okay, that was my next question. All right, thank you for that information, I
You're
appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike, for your comment.
Jeannie was gonna make a comment.
Oh.
She
Got it, got it.
Yeah, Bob, I was just wondering how you will do this, so in other words, if you have something like, for example, the grounds to do, so then would you get, an estimate and then submit the estimate to the borough to be approved, and then you get the money based on the estimate that is sent in?
Well, again, I myself would not do that. Basically, it would be put out to bid through any responsible vendors, to take on this work.
So
That's
then
how
they
things get
would
done.
submit that bid
Correct.
to the borough?
Correct.
Would that be brought before the council to approve, or is that something that would, say, for example, Trish would just say, okay, yes, that's, I mean, that's good.
The amount of money involved,
I'm sorry.
it goes the amount of money involved, if it's,
Anything over 4,000, I think it's
I think it's, no, it's, 13.
Oh, is it 13? Wow, okay.
So if it's under 13, then yes, we could just probably go with the.
And just do it, and then submit the bill?
What I normally do is I try to get 3 verbal, proposals.
Okay.
And if it's under 13, it doesn't necessarily have to go out for bid, where it has to be advertised, and so then it's up to, I don't wanna say my discretion, but I do consult with council as to whether or not we wanna go. We normally go with the cheaper proposal, given the fact that they are qualified and insured and whatnot. Now, if you're referring to fencing, that's a different story, but if you're referring to the groundwork and.
Well, I was just using that as an example,
okay,
so
sorry.
whichever one it would be, right?
Yeah, sorry.
Uh,
I mean, the fencing, more than likely, depending on how much fencing, would probably be more than 13,000, so that would have to be a formal bid process, where it needs to be, a written formal bid to the manager, it would have to be advertised, and then, then council would decide which bid they were gonna go with, which is normally the lowest bid.
Good, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
Dane Collins, 312 on Warren Street. I will be very quick. Mr. Mayor, as part of that money that was allocated, I know we had that conversation. The last vote that the previous council had was to rename ABC Field to Mayor Hank Everly Field. So as part of that, I think it's important we had a signage up there to recognize the renaming of that field. So yes, the old council had in mind the fencing work, but as part of that, I personally, and I think a lot of the residents in the park would like to see a sign recognizing that that field was renamed. So, yeah.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else?
Hi, Susan Broderick, can you hear me? 18 Partridge Avenue. I know it's been about 45 minutes, but I just want to echo Councilor Bureau that with regard to changing the permit fees, we did work very hard on that, and I did read your report, but I wouldn't want to see any changes. I think it's more important to care about the quality of life of the residents and the safety of the residents. Those are the things that need to be addressed in the code. The other thing I wanted to request, Josh, each month we come up and we see Main Streets on the agenda, but we don't really hear anything about Main Streets. A lot of people in this town devoted their time, businesses gave money, and now we know nothing. We haven't heard of a peep out of Main Streets in over a year. I think we'd like to know what's going on with that, if you could try and find out for us.
Yeah.
Thank you. The other thing, Melissa mentioned about the budget, and I just, to confirm, the budget was open, and the same day, there was appointment for a new engineer and a solicitor. So at that point, I
in terms of the budget kind of being opened, and then absolutely correct, no changes were made. I think, to me at the time, it seemed mostly like there was a bit of an issue in terms of getting things done in a timely manner, just like getting to communicate about what changes would be needed, how to implement those, where to make those changes, so moving forward in the future, definitely something that I think we would like to be more astute with when we're making that budget for 627. I don't know, I did think we spoke a bit about changing line items individually down the road, nothing in terms of changing the millage or anything like that in the budget, so nothing like that needed to be changed, nothing humongous in terms of like I said, the millage, so we decided to close the budget as it was. If line items were needed to be changed down the road, we would come back to that when we could, when we needed, when it came up.
But at this point, you can't reopen the budget. You closed it based on the items that, the amounts that were given, but knowing that you have new people that are gonna spend more time to try and figure out what what cases the borough's involved with, what streets and sewers the borough needs to look at. So now we're looking at a possibility of a tax increase, and that is something that our prior council worked very hard to not have, and that's all I can see for the future is an increase. And I don't see how you can avoid that with the fees being as high as they are in first quarter. Do you agree?
I don't necessarily agree. Right now, it's only April. We do have a lot of time to make adjustments, make changes where needed, to explore different options on how to adjust and control spending in a way that prevents us from having to make any drastic changes like that. I think, especially offhand, I think it's something that I would definitely like to see the council communicate about, see if we can sit down, discuss, and evaluate. I think I would definitely like to, I think I mentioned to Councilor McGinley, I think Friday, have a conversation, because I definitely recognize where things are at, and I want to make sure that we're managing things as best we can from this point forward in an effective manner with our resources.
What about the last 3 months though? That's, your record is showing what the future's gonna bring.
There's been a lot of record on everybody's side. It's a moment we're here, we have nothing in the past that's gonna change where we are right now. All we can do is look at where we're at, work together, and move forward with the best interest of Ridley Park in mind. And that is exactly what council is going to do.
That's so sad. I have one more comment. Mike Gale made a comment about the stipulation that's gonna be accepted tonight, the motion to accept it, and no one made a comment back to him, but he said that this was a frivolous action and that everything was revoted.
Sorry, that's,
And
time is up.
the only reason it
Excuse
was
me.
revoted, you were speaking during my 5 minutes, so I have to give you 10 more seconds. The reason you revoted is because the complaint was filed. You would have never revoted if you didn't realize there was an action. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anybody else for public comment? Going once, going twice. And we will then move on to the action items, so we'll go ahead and close public comment at that time. So I think first, do we want to just go ahead with the added action item on the agenda, that we amended the agenda and added the motion to replenish the capital funds account with, whatever number was allotted, we'll double check on that number and make sure that's specific to what we were looking for earlier, but, do I have a maker of this motion? Councilor McGinley makes the motion, do I hear a second? Councilor Guerra seconds. Any comments or questions?
Just like I said, I am in favor of replenishing. I just do want to circle back and make sure that we can put in
payable for April 21st, 2026 in the amount of $387,934.28. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor Horan makes the motion, I'll second. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to appoint CLA as Borough Auditor for 2025. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor Horan makes the motion, I'll second. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. Next is a motion to approve 2025 annual audit agreement. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor Horan makes the motion, I'll second. Do I have any comments or questions?
Questions?
Sure.
So is this the same agreement for the 24? Because we're still combining them, right? The 24 and 25?
We had already, like, the agreement for 24 was already taken, like, passed.
Yeah, so is this just then, is
Yeah,
it a
it's just
copy
like
of what
the-
the 24 is? It's just the same agreement?
Yeah.
But just the year for 25.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all, yeah.
I think we also got it last month, a copy of it. The
Oh,
agreement
what the
is-
agreement is.
yeah.
It's the same amount.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
they're charging on it too. Okay.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-09 DCNR grant application for Bonus Park rehabilitation. Do I have a maker for this motion? Councilor McGinley makes the motion, do I have a second? Councilor Horan seconds, all those, any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. Next up, we have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-10, support of Visit Delco tourism grant. Do I have a maker for this motion?
Make a motion.
Counselor Guerra makes the motion, do I have a second? Counselor Horan seconds, do I have any comments or questions?
Just another question. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Can one of you just explain what it is? I'm just not.
I can explain it, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
Should have did that anyway. So this resolution is in support of the Visit Delco Tourism Grant, is part of our Chester Place group. So what we do is we will go, to the county a lot of times, for grants, such as, what we're working on now is Green Light Go, right? We go for that, so this is in support of this particular project for the county on behalf of the Chester Place group. So all of the group is looking for support of each municipality, just to say that we support that.
Yeah, okay.
And it's like a, ballot calls and all that kind of stuff, so I apologize, I should have said something.
No, okay.
No worries, any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. So next, we have a motion to approve Block Party Permit 2026-13, First Friday, hosted by the Ridley Park Business Association on June 5th, July 3rd, August 7th, and September 4th, 2026, from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on Hinckley Ave in the Business District. Do I have a maker for this motion? Councilor Harris makes the motion. Do I have a second? Councilor Taggart seconds. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. So next, we have a motion to approve the completion of the Mini Pros Plan project. Do I have a maker for this motion? Councilor Horan will make the motion. Do I? Oh, sorry.
Oh, but the wording was changed, that the study was complete.
Yeah, so the completion of the,
Motion to accept the study.
yeah, the completion of the study. Do I have a maker for this motion? Counselor Horan makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Counselor Boyd seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say nay. And the motion carries. So next, we have a motion to appoint Tim Devaney to the Shade Tree Commission for the remainder of a 5-year term set to expire 12/31/2027. Do I have a maker for this motion?
I'll make it.
Councilor McGinley makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Councilor Guerra seconds. Do I have any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. And next, a motion to approve Tom Froschley, sorry if I butchered that, to the Shade Tree Commission for the remainder of a 5-year term set to expire on 12/31/2030. Do I have a maker for this motion? Councilor McGinley makes the motion. Do I have a second? Councilor Pierce seconds. Any comments or questions?
I have a question. Where will, the Shade Tree Commission, who will that fall under? I don't see it on our,
I have the same question, because a lot of it's coming my way, and it's fast. I was never in the machine. I feel like, I mean, I'll take it on if need be, but I do feel like this is, Shade Tree comes into play more for residential than it does for parks and properties. However, I mean, I just didn't know if this was more of a code issue, or if it's more of a,
Yeah, if I remember correctly, I thought it was under like
partially property?
Yeah, or code, yeah.
well, I mean,
But this would be like the first time it's been facilitated.
yeah, I mean, we've had people a part of it
Yeah.
for years, but, yeah, I mean, there was nothing, like, I mean, Rich, I believe it was under yours last year,
Yeah,
right?
I had it for a while, man, Shade Tree.
So it was under whatever he was.
Community, so that was community.
If I can say something.
Sure.
I've been to a couple seminars with the code enforcement people and shade tree people. And the shade tree people love to put up their trees at the sidewalk where the zoning people have to go out to the homeowner and say, well, okay, so we can put up 2 or 3 maybe square blocks, cost them about $1,200 that you have to fix for that shade tree. And which is now becoming a big issue. So, you know, if you want it under the zoning and, you know, under my stuff, I'll do that. But I think we need to take another approach at it, or have smaller trees or dwarf trees or.
Well, usually, I mean, not many times is it a problem planting trees, it's usually a problem trying to take the trees down.
Take the trees down or rip
Shade
some
trees
trees
or
or something like that, yeah.
I think in the past too, sorry, Sam, I got you. In the past, we have, people put the wrong trees. So like, for example, in the downtown, if you see the squares where there's new trees, those were trees we had got a grant for a couple of years ago. The trees that were there before went in and not deep enough, and then they ruined to your point. You just have to make sure that if Shade Tree's gonna put trees in, that they put the right ones in, and I think we have that info now, that it's the right one, but whatever they put in, let's say 20 years ago, it went down, it ruined sidewalks and made everybody very upset, and it's being polite. The ones we put in, were done by an arborist, by a proper group, and they go down deeper, and then, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So just putting the right ones in.
Yeah, in that case, you know, it doesn't matter who gets it,
Yeah.
as long as we have the communication together
Yeah.
and an understanding of, you know, that's what.
Absolutely, I think good points made, and we can kind of flesh out, I think, where that'll fall in the scheme of things in terms of committees, but it does sound like if you're interested in taking that under, I think, Walt or Mike, whoever, yeah, but we'll figure that out, absolutely. So, I don't know, did I get a maker for that motion?
Yeah.
Or am I, okay, I'm up to the vote. Absolutely, so, if there's no more comments or questions, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay, and the motion carries. And I'm up to the motion to accept the stipulation. Just, would it be appropriate for me to,
So someone could make a motion, and then should it be seconded, that would be the appropriate time to read it.
okay. So then, a motion to accept stipulation discontinuing the litigation at Delaware County Court of case docket number CB 2026-001583. Do I have a maker for this motion? Councilor Duran will make the motion. Do I have a second? Councilor Taggart seconds. So I guess right now would be the time. I'll go ahead and just quickly read the stipulation. It is not very long, so, stipulation for discontinuance. The parties, through their undersigned counsel, hereby stipulate and agree to the discontinuance of this action on the terms set forth below. Whereas plaintiffs instituted this action alleging defendants violated multiple provisions of the Sunshine Act, whereas defendants at a regularly scheduled meeting on March 17th, 2026, voted to ratify official actions taken at the January 13th, 2026 meeting, and whereas all parties have an interest in amicably resolving this matter without any concession or admission of a violation of the Sunshine Act or any liability thereunder. It is stipulated and agreed between the parties as follows. 1, the parties acknowledge and agree that nothing in this stipulation is intended to relieve or enhance Ridley Park Council's obligations under the Sunshine Act. And 2, pursuant to Pennsylvania Rule of Civil Procedure 229, this case should be marked settled, discontinued, and ended with prejudice and without costs. I think that concludes, so I'll go ahead and, I know we need a second, so I'll,
Questions,
do I have any
comments?
comments or questions? Yes.
Questions, comments?
Yes.
So I just wanna say, this was sent to us at 6:49 tonight. I would think that this would have been discussed in an executive session, and the solicitor would have gone through this with us and just discussed it, with us as council, so we could talk about it and say yay or nay there. I'm very surprised that this was brought in public now at this point when it was not discussed with us. I'm not saying that I'm going against it, or like, I'm not saying that. I just am, this is the stuff that's discussed in executive sessions. I don't know why it was not brought to us at that point and said, hey, here's what, the plans came back with. I'm very shocked, that's all. And reading it now with you is when we're here, well, I don't know if you are, but at least myself. This is the first that I'm reading it with you guys as well.
It just falls in line with January. Almost the reason why we're having this so-called frivolous in some people's mind. It couldn't be frivolous if we had to revote. Does that make sense? So obviously there was merit behind it. However, the problem is still existing. The lack of communication is still existing. We're just getting this today. Whether it should have came from the solicitor or the president, the fact that we're just, I didn't know you didn't get it. So we're still in the same spot we were in January. It's just a little more organized, on visually, but we're still the oddballs out. And it's sad. It's sad that we're still here.
We didn't get it either.
Okay, well, that's a bigger side of the face.
No, I definitely understand the concern, and I definitely take responsibility for that. I did think that it was sent to everybody, and I apologize. I should have double checked and made sure that everybody had a copy to review well beforehand. And, that, like I said, or like Walt said, that went for not just Mike or.
Is there a reason why this?
I'm sorry, and not even putting it all on
Yeah.
you. Like, the case was discussed amongst us in private. Why is it not circling back to then close it out with us in private? That's,
Sure, that can certainly happen.
Okay. So
So
that
we
was
should
public then
this
too.
should be tabled then.
Well, we could break for an executive session to discuss it and then take the vote.
Again, I'm not even saying tabling it, I'm just saying the process of it is, because at first, honest to God, when I saw it, I was like, I don't even know what this is. I was like, what is this docket number, Court of Common Pleas? I'm like, I don't even know what it is. And then I asked around and was like, oh, okay. Why? Do you understand? Like, we discussed it all in private, and not even saying that it needs to be private, I'm just saying we had discussions about it, and now it's like, oh, just here yet, close it out. Well, what is the stipulation? Can't we discuss it? I mean, so, and again, I'm not a lawyer, so is this now saying that everything's just done and it's over, and we don't think about it anymore? What about the cost?
That's correct, yes.
So no additional cost?
There's no additional cost to the borough.
Okay, and that's it, so just case closed, we made, we redid the voting and all that, and it's done?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you can't say no cost to the borough because there was cost associated with you.
There's certainly transaction costs.
Correct.
Yes.
Again, I think the proper thing would be continue the path that we were on, discussing it as a council, and then to say it's closed, hey, council, we're closing it, we did what was asked of us, we did it, we all cool now? That's all.
I think the other thing is we had other litigation that we've done in executive session that we're not sharing with everybody here too. What makes this one any different?
Sure, so this is the final vote to close it out. Should there be a settlement, say if there's other litigation that the borough's involved in, should there be a settlement proposal, that does have to be voted on
you want to break for executive session to discuss? For like a brief 15 minutes or anything like that? It's,
Okay, yeah.
absolutely. So I think I got the maker, I got the second, and I did the question, so let's go ahead and vote.
Take a
So
roll.
we'll do a roll call vote. So let's start down here. Viera? Counselor McGinley?
Aye.
Counselor Boyce?
Aye.
Aye. Counselor Grant? Aye. Counselor Taggart?
Aye.
Counselor Harris?
Aye.
And the motion carries. So with that, we are through our action items, so we'll head to adjourning. If anybody has a motion,
Motion to
Counselor
adjourn.
Viera, anybody second, Counselor Horan. All those in favor say